Alright, this will be the day trading recap video for Tuesday, July 7th, 2026. So taking a look here at the pre-market plan, price has been pretty balanced the past, honestly, month or so. And zooming in a little bit more, we've just seen this recent time frame balance, and then zooming in even more just to this little area up here overnight and through yesterday, we had another balance. So everything's been super choppy. Kind of looking for mean reversion plays here. So, main things I was watching was this was the high of the overall balance and also this recent balance. So that was my rejection level. For bounces, I was first watching this pre-market low. Then I was watching 5/8 through 5/2s for bounces. And then if we broke below here, I really didn't want to play shorts because we're still in this higher time frame balance, and I'd like to see this low get tested. But to the upside, if we were able to break out that, I would be fine playing longs. So, first trade I take actually goes counter to my plan. I ended up taking a short continuation play, which actually the move ended up working out. I didn't capitalize on it. I got stopped out and then flipped my bias to what was planned, but let's take a look at what the market was showing us and why I went short. So I get in at, my entry was at 64, and if you remember or I didn't say it actually, but my first bounce level was 63, so I'm right at the level we're bouncing. Why would I want to take it short at the low of a balance? Well, there was this really clean low volume node that formed here on the daily profile, an intraday profile, and there was a perfect shag into low volume node setup here. After we broke below this level, we saw aggression below it. Here's that low volume node. On this aggressive retest, you can see these buyers get absorbed here by this offer. That's a really good signal to me to get in. And when I took this, we were still bouncing right here. So I took that kind of anticipating that we might at least break down to this level, but I took this with smaller size because it was going against context. You can see I took one contract, got stopped out for 4-point loss, and at that point I kind of started watching this for longs, which was my main play from the plan. And we'll talk about some of the issues with taking it long or what I could have done better. So this is the play I just lost on, or no, this is where I got stopped. Yeah, I got stopped out right here. I was short on this move, got stopped out up here. So at this point, I'm seeing some decent seller absorption down here at the lows, and I see aggression. Then we see this absorption start to occur. When buying comes off of that, that's when I get in. Now, with this being said, we're still below this low volume node. So with this red flag, kind of opposite of what my last trade was for sizing down. I sized down because the context wasn't great, but the confirmation was great. This time, context was beautiful. We're bouncing right off this area where we could easily mean revert, but the confirmation was not. We had a massive red flag here with this low volume node rejecting, and then ideally we see absorption, aggression, exhaustion, not absorption, aggression, absorption. So this, mainly the low volume node is the big red flag though, because I'll still take absorption, aggression, absorption any day of the week. But this red flag, especially with this buying failing there, this probably should have been a setup that I sized down on as well. But I did not, and I ended up losing 3.5 points on that. It is what it is. So at this point, we're down 7 points. Go through this real quick. 66.5 to the 63s. So I tried that setup one more time. And you can see by the time I take the picture, I was pretty much getting stopped out. I was in this from 10:06 to 10:07, but similar type of thing. We see another test of the lows. We see some absorption by this bid, some aggression coming in. This is a little bit of a FOMO entry. I kind of saw this as exhaustion, and then buying coming in. Again, it's not terrible, but with this low volume node here rejecting again another time, and then this entry not being A+, this one should have 100% been sized down. I have no business taking this with full size, so definitely something to learn from there. You can see that low volume node just rejecting beautifully. This should have been the signal after getting stopped out on that short. This could have been a good signal to get short again. We're just seeing continued absorption here in this low volume node that I have marked out here, rather than this absorption area of sellers that's not getting much follow through out of it. So I took a 3-point loss on that. From there I stepped away for a minute, recalibrated a bit, and at this point I was waiting for the 52s through 58s to bounce. I was watching heavily, but we didn't get any good confirmation. At that point we break below, and I was kind of watching for the 52s to reclaim, because as I said earlier, I didn't want to be short. I didn't really want to be short below this 7552 level, because we're still in this overall balance, and I thought, yes, we could move down, but it's also very likely that we might get a failed break of this low, mean revert, something like that. But the way the market developed, and after missing out on this entry that I was kind of watching for another market developed short, just the way it was going, I ended up trying one more short, so we'll get into the confirmation here. The key level was a completely just intraday developed key level. Nothing, well, no, I take that back, actually. It retested low of day perfectly, so it was a nice break and retest setup of our 5-2 pre-market low key level. So everything about the setup was great except for the higher time frame context, because even lower time frame breaking out of a low of day and retesting is good short context. But so this is our key level, 52 is our key level. You can also see here we have a low volume node, which is not fully marked out, but we go into it a bit. And then the main reason I marked this was, you see this delta that comes in here and there, left behind sellers at our key intraday level. So low volume node with heavy sellers at the top at a previous key level. It's great. I forgot to mark this one out. Great confluence to get in that trade. So what we had here was basically a shag setup, sharp aggressive pullback. You can see buyers get bigger on this attempt right here. They get absorbed. Price starts to sell off. So at this point, it's kind of, that's our shag, but since it happened a good bit later, rather than maybe on this pullback, we then kind of waited for a double confirmation. So it's also a short reversal type of confirmation, where we have this buy and absorption here, sell off and exhaustion on the retest, because this is retest failing is where I got in at 1022. Down here on this push at 48.75, so right about up there, with a stop loss at 52.25, right up here. So waiting for this to reject and then pull back gives me better confidence, and also better risk reward, because if I'm kind of waiting for this selling to come in and I get a stop up here, I'm probably risking over 5 points, 5 or 6 points, versus I think I was risking 3.5 on that. So yeah, and then yeah, you can see it looks like it was also the value area low on this profile coincided with that key level, so another confluence added to that. And yeah, here's this picture. You can see if we just look at this picture right here, kind of ignore this left-hand view, this looks like a perfect downside setup. We're breaking below. We broke below pre-market low well. We broke below previous day low well. So this, and we're just shooting down intraday. So that'd be a great normally time to go short. However, we're in this overall balance range, which made me iffy for it. but I went ahead and took it. Just a little bit of development here on this trade that I wanted to show. So we get in here, some large buying comes in here. That's a red flag to me. I got pretty close to cutting it here if that buying was able to reverse price. However, it didn't. We had a large seller come in, which I like to see, and it filled this bid. This got a little bit scary here when price started popping up. Luckily, buyers got exhausted there, actually. They look very small. And at this point, when price was able to now break below this intraday, or I guess trade low, I was able to reduce my risk up here to the 50s. So at that point, I was just risking over a point. And then, yeah, market played out nice and well. And one thing with this as well is I also sized down. Two main reasons. The first is the big one, the context, which I previously said it wasn't fully developed. I didn't want to be short there, but the confirmation was so good I had to give it a try, along with how the market had been moving all day. And then the second thing is just being down 3 trades on the day already. If I take a big chunky fat loss, that could definitely cause an emotional flare-up. So yeah, one contract, we reduced risk, and then once low a day was broken and once 2R was hit, I just trailed after 2R. I was able to make 7.5 points, 2.14 RR, and I got a pretty good exit on that, honestly, because price would have come back up, and it would have worked, but it would have been a very long ride out just to catch another 10 points or so. But yeah, I forgot to add everything up, but it looks like down 3 points on the day, not bad at all. A little bit, $59, a little bit more than a 3-point loss typically could be, just with 4 trades worth of commission, and with 2 of my losers being bigger size than my 1 winner was. But yeah, not bad at all. And you can't be perfect. Days like this are going to happen. You got to be able to have days like this without blowing up, because a day like this is just the price you pay to have a one-and-done banger day once or twice a week, or maybe even once or twice a month, and then a couple good solid days. You have to be able to have losing days where you lose multiple trades and your account doesn't blow up. And not even that it doesn't blow up, but it also just doesn't take a massive hit. So, yeah. Slightly unfortunate that I got stopped out on the short and then price went without me. Definitely could have been smarter about my risk on these 2 longs, and then caught a nice little short side play there to bring me back a little bit of profit. But yeah, 2 days down on this week. I will not be trading Friday, but hopefully we'll be on Wednesday and Thursday. Hopefully catch some good trades. It's all about following the rules, following the process, and not being concerned with the outcome. You should be happy with the outcome as long as you followed the process, whether that outcome is red or green. And I think I know I followed my process today. I definitely wasn't perfect. There was a few execution errors, some smaller errors that I made, some things to tweak up and learn from, but nothing major, no blunders. Did get a little iffy taking some stuff without perfect context, but going forward, I like what I did today, where I sized down and reduced risk, and I think that's only valid when, 1, the confirmation is perfect like it was today, and 2, there still has to be decent context. Like, intraday context was good, it was just a higher time frame context that was bad. So in a situation where the confirmation is good, but both of the contexts, lower time frame and higher time frame, are bad, that would definitely be a mistake to try an entry on that trade. Like, both of my shorts today had really good confirmation and lower time frame context, just not higher time frame context. My longs today, good both contexts, but confirmation had a big red flag. So those are things where I need to be sizing down on those 2. Would be a lot closer to a break-even day if size would have been appropriate on those. But it is what it is. You learn from it. I'm not crushed right now. We're here to see another day, so yeah, enough with the talking. Peace.